Hello, once again, everybody. Good morning or good afternoon for most of you. My name is Paul Polan. I'm the product educator here at DMF Lighting. Today, we're going to be going over the S-Series family of surface-mounted downlights with you. The S-Series really is our most affordable product line that gives you a great blend of performance and affordability that is really meant to disappear into the ceiling just sort of as a traditional recessed downlight would. We've focused and concentrated on a really slim and minimal design with this fixture in particular to give you a really high-end and more elevated aesthetic out of a surface-mounted fixture. So the fixture itself comes in a couple different sizes that we'll look at, but all of them share this very minimal bezel that's on the side of the fixture. So the construction of the fixture is a metal bezel that comes down just about 0.6 inches from the ceiling and is a mere 1.5 millimeters thick, or 0.06 inches. So very, very slim. And when that surface mounted fixture is on and lit up in the ceiling, it tends to really disappear and blend in with the ceiling really nicely. And again, give that illusion of a traditional recessed downlight. Part of the real way we're able to do that as well is that we're using a fully backlit approach with this fixture. So on the inside of one of our 4-inch fixtures, there are 150 discrete LEDs that are surface mounted, pointed directly down, and then a really high quality diffusion lens that goes over the front of that. So it creates a very low glare fixture for a surface mounted downlight that still is very bright, nice, and evenly diffused. So that's a couple of the things that really set the fixture apart in terms of other surface mounted fixtures on the market. A lot of them are either sort of edge lit with a ring of LEDs around the inside that push light inward, or have maybe 1 or 2 large COBs in the middle. Both of which have some sort of complications and trouble, especially when it comes to glare. So this approach that we've taken with this high density array of LEDs and that diffusion lens really give a beautiful and sort of smooth surface mounted downlight. The family itself is comprised of a few different configurations or sizes. So we've seen some of the 4-inch sizes here. So we have the 4-inch round as well as a 4-inch square. So both of these are going to be, we'll look at the specs more closely, but available on up to 1,000 lumen outputs, which is very hard to find in a 4-inch surface mounted fixture. So those are really great. That's a really great feature to have within this fixture family. The other 2 sizes that we have are the larger format 8-inch round and the 4x18-inch linear. So much larger surface area on both of these, which both deliver up to 1,500 lumens in their respective sizes. So 4 great options, and then we do have 2 additional ones that have some integrated emergency switches, which we'll look at along with the emergency housing. In terms of housings, we have a new construction housing available for this particular fixture. The great thing about the S-Series being a surface-mounted fixture is that it's compatible with really shallow plenums because of the need only really to have a junction box. So the housing that we have for this particular fixture family is exactly that. It is a junction box with bar hangers and a fire rated assembly at that. So really flexible and easy to use. Of course, you can go with just a traditional junction box in the ceiling. If you have one that's already there, you can retrofit into, or if you're in a new construction, any standard junction box, 4-inch deep junction box will work with the fixture. We'll go over some of those options in a minute. But the added benefits that you get from the F4NC or our new construction housing here is that you have, of course, the bar hangers that are accommodate between 14 to 24-inch joist spacing. So that gives you all that flexibility to move anywhere in between. You have a little bit more flexibility to adjust your housing up and down in terms of the ceiling thickness as well. This one housing is a little unique in that it is compatible up to a 0-inch ceiling thickness, technically, meaning that the housing itself will go all the way back. The front of the housing will be flush with the backside of your drywall. So not a ton of potential uses there, but some very specific instances where you maybe need that recessed all the way back, that can accommodate that. And then it will also then go all the way down to 1.5-inch fixed ceiling. So a lot of different thicknesses of drywall, depending on your ceiling types that you're using. This can accommodate all those different ones. It is also an airtight housing and of course an IC rated housing. And with that red, or that the red color of the housing should signify, rated for 2-hour fire assemblies as well. So a lot of different ratings, certifications, and uses for this potential housing. One last thing is that this is also now a fan-rated junction box as well. So this is appropriate for use for up to 35-pound ceiling fans. That's great because the NEC really expanded the code and requires fan-rated junction boxes throughout habitable dwelling units now. So the other version of this housing that we have is our emergency integrated housing. So same F4NC design, except we're building in now an integrated battery backup, as well as the failover and transfer switch for those fixtures. So this will supply power to your fixtures for up to 90 minutes in the event of power loss. Same ratings that we have, so fan rated, fire rated, as well as airtight and all of that. Slightly larger format, of course, to accommodate all of the electronics and everything. And this is going to be fully serviceable from below the ceiling as well. Simply by removing these 2 screws on the inside, the can of the housing can come out so you can access the battery and any potential electronics that are on the sort of plenum space of the housing, so you can service that throughout the life of your installation. So great options there for our housings that we offer. That emergency version has, like I said, specific modules for it that are dedicated to it. So we have in the 4-inch size, the round and square each have integrated test switches built in. So this eliminates the need for a second junction box in the ceiling, of course, and puts a test switch right at the fixture. We have dedicated cables that go into either power and the test switch there. So it's a very quick and simple connection on the inside of the fixture and the housing to get it all hooked up and wired. So that is one more thing that's going to make those emergency lighting requirements a little bit simpler to implement. And then, of course, I mentioned earlier, this is compatible with standard junction boxes as well. So anything that is going to be of those minimum volume requirements that we see here, whether it's a deep 4.0, 3-round, or 4-round, those all are going to be compatible solutions. Every fixture, I didn't mention so far, but every fixture comes with this black mounting ring. So whether you're using a junction box or the F4NC housing, this mounting ring is what holds the fixture into place. So it has the 2 screw holes for a 3-inch or a 4-inch junction box here. It's a very nice, secure, rigid, thick piece of metal. So that gives you a very easy way to install your fixture. So it just snaps into place really securely. A lot of other surface mounts on the market, one of which I do have sort of over here, have much more sort of convoluted mounting brackets and things that are a little bit more difficult and hard to install. They tend to be kind of hard to get into place very easily, and they might miss one side and then fall down a lot. Our solution that we've come up with, this mounting ring and these tension springs, give you a really secure fit, and so they really auto adjust up to the height of the housing, give you a nice flat flush finish no matter the installation. So other last sort of great benefit there with how we've designed and constructed that fixture. Taking a closer look at the modules themselves. So again, we have our 4-inch sizes in the round and square that are going to go up to 1,000 lumens, which again is really difficult to find in this 4-inch downlight form factor. We have 3 different static CCTs that are 2,700, 3,000, or 3,500. It's a 90+ CRI and 3-step binning, so you have really good control over your color quality and nice consistency. These are wet rated, so appropriate for use in showers, bathrooms, any outdoor areas, things like that. as well as closet rated for the 750 lumen version. We also do have a non-conductive dead front option if you have specific areas of the country that need that particular option. And then finally, we have two different dimming versions. We have a 120 volt 5% triac dimmable option, or we have a 0 to 10 volt option that will give you 1% performance and dual voltage, so 120 or 277. So lots of options to cover all of your different installation types, places, your dimming and voltage compatibilities. On the larger format, the 8-inch and the 4x18-inch linear, these two both are a 1500 lumen fixtures, so a little bit more output for that larger surface area. It's going to give you even more low glare solution. Same color quality, CCT options. These are going to be UL listed for wet location. We do not have a closet rating here because of the wattage. But again, similar options with our dimming type, so 120 volt 5% dimming, or 0 to 10 volt universal voltage with that 1% dimming driver. So, and then just a close look again at some of those ratings. So we did mention that closet rating, just to reiterate. That's available in the 4-inch 750 lumen output fixture. Of course, wet rated, and that non-conductive dead front option for the family. So we have wet rating across all of them, and then the dead front option in one of the 4-inch, the 4-inch round size. Finally, I just want to take a quick look at some different applications with you all. So this is a fixture that fits in a large number of spaces, whether it's residential, single family, multifamily residential. They make great fixtures for places where you need good sort of broad lighting because it's a very high diffuse beam angle. I glossed over that with the modules, but it's about 114-degree beam angle, so you have a really good wide coverage with these types of fixtures. So places like even garages, gyms, any sort of indoor-outdoor mixed-use spaces like this spa and patio that we see down below are all great options to really get a high-quality, affordable surface mount fixture into for your downlighting needs. One specific use case that we do see a good amount of success with this fixture in are places where you have very low ceiling heights. You can see here this sort of alcove into a bathroom area in this project. Has a very short ceiling, looks like it's just above the height of the doorway. So that really wide angle beam spread is going to light up this space really evenly and really well. Give it a little bit more of an impression of brightness because it's lighting up the walls and the surfaces in this sort of alcove. Another cool one that we've seen being used for is that this is equally or very easily mounted in a vertical application as well. Again, that just that junction box that fits within our wall makes a vertical mounting scenario really simple and straightforward, just sort of like a sconce or any other junction box fixture. So this is a custom mirror that we saw designed for a dressing room in this Printemps location in New York City. So we have this custom mirror design and all these fixtures vertically mounted within to give you a really nice soft glow and beautiful light within that dressing room application. One last one to look at as well is a really fun use of these in the HOK office. They had a new office built, new studio design built, and they use these in a really cool somewhat more graphic layout in the ceiling to give a little bit more visual intrigue. Again, also the high number of fixtures and the really widespread beam angle gives a really soft, even light throughout the studio. So really great for reading drawings and being able to see really clearly and not have a lot of shadows or indirect things being blocked by people or anything. So some really nice, interesting applications. We've also seen, I don't have it here in the slides, a really cool one where the fixture itself was actually recessed within the ceiling by creating sort of a cavity or a cylindrical hole in which they could sort of recess into, giving a really sort of custom look to an otherwise more off-the-shelf type of fixture. So with that, I want to say thank you all for joining us today. If anybody has any sort of additional questions, things they wanted to look at, you can feel free to drop those in the Q&A. Otherwise, thank you again for joining us, and I hope to see you all again next week.